So now we are on our way to Cape Canaveral. We're going to look at the NASA site. I will keep you guys updated. Ciao. So now we're heading Highway 95 towards Cape Canaveral. I'm not really familiar with the roads, but all I know is the speed limit is really bad. It sucks driving here. So now we're approaching Port Canaveral.
Nach einer Halbmeile nimm die Ausfahrt rechts.
Half a mile to go before we enter Port Canaveral. Approaching Cape Canaveral. Look at these scenes. So now we're turning into the Kennedy Space Center in
Links
Orlando.
abbiegen.
So there you go, Space Center. Going into Buck, and then we'll take you guys around.
Rechts abbiegen.
So we have to park our car somewhere here.
Nach 1000 Fuß. An der Gabelung rechts halten.
That's 9,000 Fuß.
Kannst du ausmachen. Geht die? Machst du aus?
So now we're approaching the Space Center.
Wo soll ich hin? Ach ja, alles klar. Huh?
This way then.
So mein Dank.
Welcome to the Space Center.
Okay guys, welcome to the Kennedy Space Center. Getting our tickets and then we'll show you more. So welcome to the NASA or Kennedy Space Center. Now we are going in. Jamie, excited? Sa map. So we are in. So these are the rockets. Space Shuttle. So a shuttle that was used. So this is the Space Center. Area where they control everything. Crazy. So United States Astronaut Hall of Fame.
1997.
These are all of them. It's crazy amazing. So now it's the launch center of the NASA in Cape Canaveral. Holy no.
So, you see, we got all of our alpha.
Oh yeah.
So we take 2 shots.
So this is the shuttle center. Let's see what's inside. So guys, I'm standing in front of the Atlantis space craft. And this is the carcass.
I'll be showing you some videos along the way.
So now we're off to the
pointing out some
Apollo
things along.
program where they're going to show us
Seated while the bus is in
an
motion.
actual rocket. So
Thank you.
stay tuned.
The stars with wonder and amazement, their glow guiding our travel for centuries. The more we learn about our universe, the more questions we have.
I'm Emily Calandrelli, and today you'll be following me behind the gates on this exclusive bus tour of Kennedy Space Center. Our journey will take us past active facilities and end at the visitor complex's own Apollo Saturn V Center.
But before we begin this journey, just like every
Science and discovery. And so there's so much to learn from the moon. We're still learning from what the samples we gathered during the Apollo program. The beauty of what we're doing today is that instead of going for a short trip, we're going to stay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're in Launch Complex 39 Industrial Area. To our right, to our left, the Vehicle Assembly Building.
So this is the vehicle assembly building.
Coming up ahead on our right, look over to your right, you see the flagpole there in the distance. That blue rectangle there, that is the countdown clock. we make our turn, then you'll have 39
There's the
feet.
launch pad.
On our left, the building with the black windows, Launch Control Center. Now there are 4 firing rooms in there. Firing room 4 completely. They'd start at the bottom. The doors would cascade upwards. It would take about an hour to get each door completely open.
And now completely open the doors. Crazy.
We're inside the VAB at level 26, 274 feet up. And I can see behind us, right over to the right, the newly added True Access arm attached to this mobile launcher. I want everyone here to meet Cliff Lanham. The mobile roller is an engineering marvel, even without a rocket sitting on top of it. This thing has 2,750 horsepower, V16 diesel engines that can carry the crawler up to a top speed of, wait for it, 1 mile per hour while carrying a rocket.
Wow.
Keep an eye out for the crawler as we approach this area.
Begin by going underneath the mobile launcher. We'll pick it up. We'll take it over to the VAB. They'll then assemble the launch vehicle on top of the launch pad. We'll roll over a specially prepared.
When I was a kid, I used to dream about flying through space. Every week on TV, I'd watch my heroes jump into their rocket ships and took to the sky. I wanted to be like them. They had courage, imagination, and no problem ever stood in their way for long. Not again, when we actually did send them into space. It turned out that those were exactly the qualities it took. I'm John Hudson. This is Pad 39 of the Kennedy Space Shuttle. I was a launch controller here when from this very spot, man took off to fly to the moon. It was a journey that began 12 years before that rocket ever left the ground. And it started on the other side of the world. Back then, we were one of 2 superpowers that always seemed to be on the edge of a terrible war. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched the first ever man-made satellite into Earth orbit. They called it Sputnik, which means traveling companion. In a world where peace hung in a delicate balance, it seemed to create a dangerous advantage. Every ham radio operator in America could hear the beat. People were afraid. Were the Soviets looking down on us, watching us? If they could make a satellite pass over our cities, could they do the same with a bomb? Our own space program kicked into high gear, and less than 2 months later, we were ready to launch our own satellite. It was being called the space race, and we were running a distant satellite. In 1961, we fell even further behind. Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first man into space, circling the world in just 89 minutes. We had our own astronauts, and they were eager and ready to take the big ride. But our manned space program couldn't seem to get off the ground. We stuck with it, and on May 5th, 1961, things finally started going right. Astronaut Alan Shepard took his ship Freedom 7 6.5 miles into space. America had its first space cruise. Just a few days later, our space program received a new challenge. But this one did not come from the Soviet Union. It came from our young president. In one inspiring moment, he changed the mission from one based in fear of the present to one of hope for the future.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Bryce play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing, not because we are easy because they are hard.
We hadn't been more than 16 minutes into space, and now we were going to the moon. We would have to design a rocket the size of a 36-story office building, put it together with the precision of a microscope, and accelerate it with the speed of light. Then we'd have to guide it to a moving target 250,000 miles away. Many people thought it was an impossible dream, but 400,000 of us set about making that dream a reality. It would be the longest, most hazardous voyage that any man had dared to attempt. But step by step, mission by mission, we orbited the Earth, perfecting the skills and technologies we would need on this incredible journey. Our astronauts practiced maneuvering, docking, and the 1,000 other tasks that would comprise the moon mission. We created new alloys, lighter and stronger than anything seen before. We designed communication systems that would be reliable in the vast distance. And behind it all, we tried to perfect the rocket that would be powerful enough to punch out of Earth orbit and take us to the moon. One day, however, the dream of flying to the moon almost slipped away. It was January 27th, 1967. Astronauts Virgil Gus Grissom, Edward White, and Roger Chaffee were on board Apollo 1 for a plugs-up test, a full-scale dress rehearsal for the actual launch. Suddenly it happened. There was a fire in the capsule. 3 men whose lives had been in our hands were lost.
Surely the opening vistas of space promise high costs and hardships, as well as high reward. But this country of the United States was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them.
After Apollo 1, some thought we'd failed, and that the moon was out of our reach. But we owed it to those men to learn from their sacrifice and to carry on. We started taking the Apollo vehicle apart, piece by piece. Was the design flawed? Had safety been compromised? Tough questions. And we spent 1.5 years redesigning the spacecraft so that no astronaut's life would ever be at risk because we overlooked something, or because we could have done something better. A moon rocket is 91% high explosive, and it goes into the most unforgiving, hazardous environment there is. We could never make it risk-free, and the men who flew them knew that. We didn't send men into space again until Apollo 7 orbited the Earth testing some of the new designs. When everything worked perfectly, the decision was made. The next mission would travel to the moon. It was mankind's destiny to leave the shores of our planet behind and strike out across the vast ocean of space. In the great span of our history, now was the time that we could. Now was the time that we would. We stood on the eve of the longest, most dangerous journey that any man had ever undertaken. And it would be taken by Frank Borman, James Lovell, and William Anders, the crew of Apollo 8. Through those doors, you'll find the firing room, launch control, just as it was on December 21st, 1968.
Please gather all of your belongings. Take small children by the hand.
To send 20 men to the moon and back.
So guys, this is the firing capsule.
For the comfort, safety, and viewing pleasure of all our guests, we ask that you refrain from flashing or making further use of our presentation. If you must have enjoyed the presentation, please exit through the doors on your left. Thank you.
Sat on the pad. She was the first of a new kind, a moon rocket. This was the Phoenix, risen from the ashes of Apollo 1. The first Apollo crew did not die. It is one of those rare moments when history is not being made, destiny is being embraced.
CBS, this is Vertigo Falls. CBS, you are
Attention all personnel. Countdown clock will start on mark at T-3 minutes.
So this is the rocket that was used during the Apollo 8. So this is a simulation of Mars or the moon, I guess. Let me check. Okay, yeah, simulation of man on moon. And this is the shuttle, or the bus they boarded before going into the shuttle. So it's called the astronaut van.